We basically have a traveler beam that will go underneath the house, and then another beam that sits outside the house. And these pinch plates that hook to the beam will actually slide up the column. And as we lift it up, this one slides up, this one moves up with it, and every time you let the pressure off, it actually comes back down and locks itself in again. So it's pretty cool. Pretty simple, nothing much to it. I like simple because simple doesn't break as easily. So we're trying to come up with it, as simple a solution as possible and to move forward. So we've got these base plates, and so the first thing we do when we go to the job site with this type of application is we're going to be drilling some footings near the perimeter of the house, and we've got to get down to something where we can actually pick this house up. It has to be robust. Like, we can't not get onto good soil to do this. Otherwise, we're going to be at risk of this thing wanting to flip over. And we're picking up a lot of weight here. So what we do is we get in here with an auger. So we use like a skid steer type auger and drill down, put our concrete in here, put our anchor bolts in, and then this will all be levelable. What we want to do is make sure that when we do have these columns coming up beside the house, that they've got to be perfectly level. Because as we move up, they can't move from where they are. So basically, I'm going to show you how this thing is going to move. So this whole batch of stuff here, let's see here, all of this, everything except for the columns. So I'm going to just shift. So we're going to do Control to deselect these things. So those are going to stay there. So that's a great question. How deep are we going down to with the auger? We're going down until we hit soil that we know isn't going to go anywhere. So we got to get to a soil that has a bearing pressure of minimum 3,500 PSF, so that when we were picking this thing up, there's no risk of compressing those. So, all right. So now we've got those kind of selected in a batch. I'm going to put these all in a block so it's easier to see. Okay. So now we get this block. So this whole thing will move up the throw of these. So this jack has a throw on it, and it can go approximately 6 inches in each increment. So each one of these jacks is rated for right around 100,000 pounds each. So we can pick up 400,000 pounds with this unit. It's not this is actually Rhino, Ryan. This is a program that I've used for a long time. But yeah, so we'll be able to move this thing basically in 6-inch increments. So move it up. The cool thing is that it's all very simple machinery kind of deal. This plate locks around the column, and that's what binds on the column for the jack to actually push up on the beam. And then as it moves up, it's basically the same as like a Chinese finger cuff. When you pull down on this plate binds and actually locks this beam back into place. So there's no way for this thing to move. What's up, Amanda Faulkner? I'm an architect, but pretend to be an engineer. And I have a lot of engineers that I work with, so I get other people to run the numbers on this stuff for me for sure. But yeah, so basically simple machinery, simple execution, and we just try to keep it where as few moving parts as possible. But then, okay, so we moved up 6 inches, so we can keep moving up. Sorry for the blunt quick. There's no blunt. Ryan, I draw all kinds of things that my engineers are like, are you for real? I'm like, yep, let's go figure it out. And they do. So basically, we're moving this thing up in about 6-inch increments. You can see it's kind of cool. Oh, cool. So, where is Lexington? I've got a project up in Lexington. I've been talking with a client up there about. Love to chat with you at some point. So the Another Story experience, a lot of times what we do is actually we're adding a second story on your house while you live there. That's super cool, but sometimes it's better. Do you get any bed plate under the jack? Seems like it. I don't hate that idea, Mike. You know, almost more like what you call it, like how you'd have with a pipe clamp. This was just the solution that we've come up with. So this plate is a 1-inch thick plate. I don't think there's going to be much deflection on it, but yeah, open to suggestions always. But so the whole thing moves up in basically 6-inch increments. And the cool thing is, you know, this is 4 guys with some really basic machinery moving this thing up. Yes, you're going to need some lifting capacity to get these beams and stuff into the place. And the prep work is by far the worst part of this. But once you get everything locked into place where it needs to be, you can pick this house up. You can pick the whole house up with 4 columns basically that will be holding everything in place. The neat thing is that all of this is out of your way. We've got these as 10-foot pipes, but we could do pretty much as big as you want. And we can get up high enough that you can brick up, or you can put a new footing underneath it and actually pour a new slab and you could easily do a first floor underneath this, no problem. So it's pretty cool. What's up, Jeff? You doing all right? Thank you for hanging out with me. Hit the like, hit the share, hit the follow if you like what you see. What you're looking at is the solution that we're coming up with for how to lift houses to get up out of the floodplain. Jeff, hopeful, will be one of my contractors to do this for me down in the Florida market. So we're working through some cool stuff. I'm very excited about the simplicity of this, because simple is easier and better than not. So thank you for following me. I don't know who's followed me so far, but I really appreciate you. And again, I'm Ben Strout. I'm an architect, a GC, and a home builder. And our patented product and our process enables you to add a second story on your house without you having to move out. And now we're talking about how we can actually add a story under your house if you're trying to get up out of the water, if you're trying to get up away from flood risk. Chris, this is actually called Rhinoceros. It's more of a European program. It's a little less expensive than AutoCAD. I like it a lot. I've been using it for a long time. But yeah, I just wanted to share this with you. I don't get a lot of traction on my lives when I go on live with this type of thing, but I wanted to come in here and show you this, honestly, so that I could record it and have it for posterity and for other people to see what it is that I'm talking about. So we're moving this thing up in basically 6-inch increments. This unit is able to move up and down the pipe, and so it locks in at each level, and then this thing actually locks in to the pipe by binding down, and it works. It's pretty cool. Pretty crazy stuff. Who would have guessed it? But yeah, so we can lift your house up. We ready to get you out of the mud. You know, I won't sing anymore for you. What got you into the field over coding, whether software or web? You know what? I got into architecture because I liked building stuff, but I was actually in pre-med originally, and you know, I just grew up around carpentry and wood and in the construction industry, and so just kind of in my blood, my bones. But it's been fun. Not a bad ride. But I just want to share this stuff with you guys for a minute and show you how we kind of like figure out some of the stuff. We get very granular, get down into the nitty gritty. And I love going from like kind of super schematic to, you know, actually like we're going to use a 2-inch bolt. You know, this is a type 8 extra heavy duty bolt that's bolting these things together, and then you put this whole thing together, and man, it's cool to see it happen. So thank you for hanging out with me for a minute, and I will be back in here later on. Maybe not later on today, but we'll see what we got going on. And yeah, I'm Ben Strout. I'm going to be over and out.